Decide that quitting is no longer an option. There comes a moment in every serious journey when effort alone is not enough. You've worked, you've tried, you've sacrificed, and still the road feels heavy. This is where most people pause and ask themselves a dangerous question: should I keep going? That question sounds harmless, but it carries the seed of quitting. Because once quitting becomes a possibility, your mind will start building reasons to justify it. Most people don't fail because they lack ability. They fail because they never made a final decision. They left themselves an escape hatch. They said, I'll give it a shot, I'll try my best. Trying is respectable, but it's not decisive. Life responds differently to commitment than it does to curiosity. When you decide that quitting is no longer an option, something powerful happens internally. Your energy shifts, your thinking sharpens, your excuses lose their authority. A firm decision simplifies life. When quitting is off the table, you no longer waste mental energy debating whether to continue. That energy gets redirected toward how to continue. Instead of asking, can I do this? You begin asking, what's the next step? That shift alone can change your results. Clarity creates strength. The strength grows from certainty. Understand this clearly. Deciding not to quit does not mean you won't feel tired. It does not mean you won't feel frustrated or disappointed. It means that emotions are no longer in charge of the direction of your life. Feelings can ride along, but they don't get to steer. When you decide in advance that you will stay the course, you give yourself stability in unstable moments. Hard times don't ask for permission before they arrive. They show up unannounced, often when you're least prepared. If you wait until difficulty arrives to decide what kind of person you're going to be, the pressure will decide for you. But when the decision is already made, hardship loses its power to negotiate. It can slow you down, but it cannot stop you. People who succeed long-term are not braver, luckier, or smarter. They are simply more resolved. They understand that progress requires endurance, and endurance begins with a decision that does not change with circumstances. Attach your pain to purpose, not panic. Pain is not the enemy. Panic is. Pain is simply a signal that you are stretching beyond what is comfortable. Panic is what happens when pain is misunderstood. When difficulty appears, most people assume something has gone wrong. They interpret resistance as failure and struggle as a warning sign. But what if pain is not a signal to retreat, but a confirmation that you are growing? Every meaningful pursuit comes with discomfort. Change hurts. Improvement hurts. The mistake is not feeling pain. The mistake is giving it the wrong meaning. When pain is attached to panic, it produces fear. Fear leads to hesitation. Hesitation leads to doubt, and doubt makes quitting feel reasonable. But when pain is attached to purpose, it produces strength. Purpose gives context to suffering. It answers the question, why am I enduring this? Without purpose, pain feels pointless. With purpose, pain becomes temporary and tolerable. A clear why does not remove difficulty, but it gives you the power to move through it. Think about this: the body grows stronger through resistance. Muscles tear before they rebuild. Endurance develops through strain. The same principle applies to life. Emotional and mental strength are forged in moments of challenge, not comfort. When things get hard, instead of asking, why does this hurt, ask, what is this preparing me for? Panic narrows your vision. Purpose expands it. Panic makes the present moment feel permanent. Purpose reminds you that this season is temporary. Panic says, this is too much. Purpose says, this is shaping me. When you connect your pain to a deeper reason, your family, your future, your values, your self-respect, you stop seeing struggle as an obstacle and start seeing it as part of the process. You begin to understand that discomfort is not a stop sign, it is often a checkpoint. Pain handled with purpose builds resilience. It teaches you that you can survive more than you thought. It reveals a strength that comfort could never show you. And once you learn that lesson, difficulty no longer scares you the same way. It becomes familiar territory, a signal that you are still moving forward, still growing, still becoming. Discipline is stronger than motivation. There is a popular belief that successful people are always motivated, always excited, always driven by passion. That belief sounds good, but it's misleading. Motivation is emotional, and emotions are unstable. They rise when things are new and exciting, and they disappear when the work becomes repetitive, slow, or uncomfortable. If motivation were enough, everyone would succeed because everyone feels motivated at the beginning. Discipline is different. Discipline does not wait for the right mood. It does not negotiate with comfort. Discipline is a quiet agreement you make with yourself to act according to your standards, not your feelings. When everything gets hard, motivation often goes silent. Discipline speaks up. Think about the days when you least feel like showing up, The days when progress feels invisible, when results are delayed, when effort seems unrewarded. Those are the days that shape your future. Discipline carries you through moments when motivation would abandon you. It is the bridge between goals and results. Discipline is built through small, repeated actions. It's not dramatic. It doesn't demand perfection. It simply asks for consistency, showing up when it's boring, doing the work when no one is watching, taking the next step even when confidence is low. Over time, those small acts create inner strength. You begin to trust yourself, and self-trust becomes fuel when motivation runs dry. The truth is, discipline creates motivation, not the other way around. Action produces momentum. Momentum produces belief. Belief fuels motivation, but it all begins with disciplined action. Waiting to feel ready keeps people stuck. Acting despite resistance moves people forward. When life gets hard, discipline becomes your anchor. It reminds you that your future is shaped by what you do repeatedly, not what you feel occasionally. Discipline is not punishment. It is self-respect in action. It is choosing long-term growth over short-term relief. And every time you choose discipline, even in a small way, you strengthen your ability to endure the next challenge. Measure progress. Not one of the fastest ways to lose heart is to expect perfection from yourself. Perfection sounds admirable, but it is heavy. It creates pressure, fear of mistakes, and constant dissatisfaction. When things get hard, perfection magnifies every flaw and minimizes every improvement. It convinces you that if you're not exactly where you want to be, then you're failing. Progress, on the other hand, is lighter. Progress allows room to breathe. It acknowledges effort. It understands that growth is gradual and even and sometimes invisible. When you measure progress instead of perfection, you stay in the game longer. And staying in the game is what leads to success. Most people quit not because they aren't moving forward, but because they don't recognize their movement. They focus on how far they still have to go and forget how far they've already come. This creates discouragement. Discouragement drains energy, and drained energy makes quitting feel like relief. Progress is often quiet. It doesn't announce itself. It shows up as slightly better habits, clearer thinking, improved reactions, and stronger endurance. When you acknowledge progress, you reinforce effort. When effort feels valued, persistence becomes easier. Measuring progress also changes how you handle setbacks. Instead of seeing mistakes as proof of failure, you see them as part of learning. You understand that missteps do not erase progress, they refine it. Growth is not a straight line, it is a series of adjustments. Progress allows you to stumble without surrendering. When everything gets hard, give yourself permission to be human. You are allowed to struggle. You are allowed to learn slowly. You are allowed to improve one step at a time. Progress builds confidence because it's achievable. Perfection builds fear because it's impossible. By focusing on progress, you train your mind to look for improvement instead of inadequacy. You begin to notice strength where you once saw weakness. And that awareness keeps you moving forward. Even when the finish line feels far away, guard your mind from discouragement. When everything gets hard, the real battle is no longer outside of you, it's inside. Circumstances may apply pressure, but discouragement is what drains your strength. Discouragement doesn't usually arrive loudly. It slips in quietly through repeated thoughts, subtle doubts, and unanswered questions. It sounds reasonable. It says you've tried long enough, or maybe this just isn't for you. If you don't guard your mind, those thoughts begin to feel like truth. Your mind is powerful, but it is also impressionable. Whatever you consistently allow into it will shape your attitude, eventually your actions. When progress is slow or setbacks appear, the mind looks for explanations. If the only explanations it finds are negative, it will weaken your resolve. That's why guarding your mind is not optional, it's essential. Guarding your mind does not mean pretending everything is perfect. It means being intentional about what you focus on. There is always something going wrong, and there is always something going right. Discouragement grows when you give all your attention to what is missing. Strength grows when you acknowledge what is still standing. One of the most powerful ways to guard your mind is to control the conversation you have with yourself. When things get hard, people often become their own harshest critics. They replay mistakes, exaggerate failures, and minimize effort. That inner dialogue can either become a prison or a source of strength. Speak to yourself with honesty, but also with respect. Correct yourself without condemning yourself. Another danger of discouragement is comparison. When you measure your struggle against someone else's success, you create a distorted picture of reality. You don't see their setbacks, their sacrifices, or their doubts. You only see the results. Comparison drains joy and replaces patience with frustration. Your journey has its own timing, and your growth has its own rhythm. Guarding your mind also means choosing what you listen to, what you read, and who you allow to influence your thinking. Constant exposure to negativity, complaints, and fear will slowly erode your confidence. Surround yourself with ideas that strengthen you, stories that remind you what's possible, and voices that challenge you to rise instead of retreat. When you protect your mind, discouragement loses its grip. You begin to see difficulty as temporary instead of permanent. You regain clarity, and clarity restores courage. Become the kind of person who finishes. At the deepest level, success is not about what you achieve, it's about who you become. Goals can change, circumstances can shift, but character lasts. When everything gets hard, the question is no longer, can I do this? The real question becomes, what kind of person am I becoming through this? Becoming someone who finishes is a decision about identity. It means you stop defining yourself by outcomes and start defining yourself by standards. You no longer rely on excitement to move forward. You rely on commitment. You no longer need constant reassurance. You trust the process because you trust yourself. Finishing builds something powerful inside you, self-respect. Each time you keep going despite discomfort, you send yourself a message: you are reliable. And when you believe you are reliable, your confidence deepens. You stop needing proof from the outside because you've proven it to yourself on the inside. People who finish are not immune to doubt or fear. They simply refuse to let those emotions make decisions for them. They understand that quitting may bring temporary relief, but finishing brings lasting pride. The pain of effort fades. The pain of regret lingers. When you become the kind of person who finishes, challenges no longer intimidate you in the same way. You've been tested before, you've endured before, you've continued when it would have been easier to stop. That history becomes strength. It reminds you that you are capable of more than the present moment suggests. And one day, when you look back at the hardest season of your life, you won't remember every detail of the struggle. You'll remember that you stayed. You'll remember that you didn't quit when it would have been convenient. You'll realize that the strength you were searching for was being built with every difficult step. So when everything gets hard, stand firm, guard your mind, honor your commitment. Keep going, not because it's easy, not because it's fast, but because you are becoming someone who finishes. And that decision, made again and again, is what turns ordinary effort into an extraordinary life.